the note that we started on, the Kakamega Homeboys player, quite a sad note, and story as a whole, because when it comes to the closest member of a family, then it's crazy, it's sad, and it makes one wonder how much far can we go, because a family member, when you get such a happening from a family member, it's a different story, But we believe that the law is going to take its course, and he's going to go to book. I read later on that he was arrested after he had run away. So I think the law is going to take its course, and it's quite sad and very sorry. Condolences to the whole fraternity, to the family, and to everyone who knew and enjoyed the talent. Last week, but on Sunday they played a game, and I watched that game. I saw he played very well. He was full of health and all that. So it's quite unfortunate. So. Condolences also to the football fraternity, Banake. He was a very instrumental part when it comes to Kenyan football, so it's quite sad. In the meantime, thank you so much. Welcome to the show. I'm happy to be here again, and brace yourself for an amazing show. Very in-depth analysis of everything that took place during the weekend. So welcome.
Also tuko na Emmanuel hapa. I know hii wiki unafurahia kidogo, at least. You won against Sunderland, who played better than you, but you scored the goal. So whoever scores the goals wins the game. Alafu pia the story of Silas Abuganda. So maybe as we reflect on all these things, Family Feud, his story is complicated because kuna a lot that is involved. So maybe as you introduce yourself and all that, maybe you can dive in. Tell us what you feel about all of these things.
First of all, thank you for those when you may tune in. Definitely we are starting on a sad note because of that tragic story that we had from last week about Kakamega Homeboys, Silas, and it's so sad, by the way, to hear those kinds of stories zenye zina involve family feuds. It's usually so sad, and it's not only that story. Of course, we are focusing on that because he was a football player, Kakamega Homeboys player, defender. And this family, things usually escalate. We might not know the cause of what was set up, and ika escalate kafika place imefika, and right now we have lost somebody who was representing in the FKF Premier League. So to the football fraternity, wase wenye wanafuatilianga futa, to the fans, santana that club Kakamega Homeboys definitely umekuwa affected, and FKF as a whole, we just send condolences to each and every person affected, specifically the family and also the ones that have worked closely with him. So sad, and we just send our condolences, and we hope that things will be better as we continue. Switching sides, it's been a nice time, with Arsenal, but the pressure is continuing to increase. So we'll talk about that as we continue, but right now I can't complain much. I just want to thank you, each and every person, when you meweza kutune in right now. Make sure you comment hapo Facebook. This conversation usually happens every day of the week. So you can join us pale Facebook kwa comment section. Tell us your favorite team. Tell us kama Sajo Man City walishinda. Tell us who will win the league. Like venye league sasa inakuwa spiced up, the title race. Tell us your opinion about that, and we'll be glad to share it with you also. So thank you so much, and feel free.
Moving swiftly, because that's a sad story, but sometimes it happens. So tumeona a lot happening this week in terms of to take break from the usual Kenya Premier League, tukaingia kwa FKF Cup, which we all know the winner of that gets to represent Kenya kwa Confederation Cup. Mali Nai Boys wanacheza sahi, and they are embarrassing us tremendously, and and we don't know what to do, but we thank God for that. Anyway, so before we talk about FKF, because kumekuwa na a lot of surprises, the whole of hizi games, though the main surprise obviously imekuwa ya FC Leopards, na najua hii weekend nimepikwa sana from Saturday, Sunday, leo pia mali nimekuwa, they have been talking about mkate, nikamwambia hata mimi asubuhi sijaonja mkate and I don't think I'm going to eat mkate anytime soon because of that beef. So let's start with Naiboy. 4 losses. Home unapigwa, away unapigwa. Yani kila mahali ni kugumu. Is it that ni first time thing ama ni experience ama shida ya Naiboys ni gani? Tukianza na Mike.
I think if you ask me, I will talk about fatigue. You know, maybe it's the first time they are engaging in such number of games, especially high-profile games, and you see the teams that they are pitted against are very. These are teams that have been there for quite some time, and it comes also with the experience, you know. So you know how you train for Allah is not the same way you train for bread somewhere.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a different. So it requires a lot of experience, a lot of. For the team to be conditioned for that, and the traveling and all that, so it's too much for, I think, this being their maiden appearance in such a tournament, and still, okay, despite the fact that they're losing, especially in this group stage, but they've done so well for themselves. Being a first for them, just coming to the Premier League, climbing to the Premier League, getting to the Confederation League in the same season, you know. The number of games takes a toll on the players, you know. So I feel like they're not a bad side, because even if you look at the losing margin, it's quite small. If you look at the game against Azam, if you look at now against Wydad Casablanca yesterday, so those are very small margins, which means that they have a very good pool of talent. They're playing, so now converting is the problem here. So I hope they look into that. They might not go beyond the group stages, but I feel like they've learned enough to the place they have reached so far. Yeah.
So Manu, tumeona pia in terms of preparation, you can say maybe Azam na vitu zingine, but ndio wafike hapa malo wamefika, walipiga Saint Etoile Tunisian side, and that's a good side. So can we say it was by fluke ama walikuwa tu raya ilikuwa tuingie group stage to feel tu hiyo utamu ya kucheza group stage, ama football happened na wakapiga Etoile alafu huko kwingine wanapigwa? Because in each and every game, although Jana they kind of tried because they had quite a number of chances, unless everyone was going for glory. But from your own assessment, ukiangalia the journey mpaka kwa group stage, which is good, what do you think changed? Ama ni nini imewafanya in that kwa group stage they're not even picking a draw?
I feel like the games became too many and overwhelming, because we've been saying that the SportPesa League imekuja kuwa so competitive in this nature design yenye, if you are in the FKF and in the confederations, unapata it's so hard for them to like focus on one competition. And also unaweza pata at that moment, you know, kulikuwa na hiyo cycle momentum venye waliweza ku go through wakafika group stages. Momentum was so high at that moment, and I feel like every person was behind Nairobi United, because they were breaking record, like the first Kenyan team kufika hiyo stage. But I feel like now wakifika hiyo level, competition inakuwa very stiff, games zinakuwa overwhelming, and also fatigue kicks in. So I feel like their journey hasn't been that bad. I feel like inafika point inakuja kudrop instantly, because you feel like maybe the games are coming in very fast. And right now unapata in the FKF SportPesa League tunacheza weekend na unacheza pia katikati ya wiki, and also pia wao wanacheza in the group stages of the confederation. So unapata they have a lot to play. If you compare them with the other teams zenye wanacheza in that group stage, or maybe hata wenye wanacheza kwa the cup, kwa the league, sorry, unapata they have a number of games to play. So unapata pia momentum ina drop, it's being, you know, inakuwa heavy maybe, but I feel like it's not that they have had a bad journey, but I feel like sahi mali wamefika, it's evident that it's starting to like peel off, the fatigue is starting to show, and these teams zenye wameanza kuwa squared in kama tu zinawashainia. So I feel like the opponent's team ina gain advantage over them, and maybe they aren't prepared very well. So yeah, I feel like that's it, but also not overlook on their journey, because it has been great up to where they have reached. So yeah, that's it. I can say that. But even if they drop, there's still an next time. They have made us proud that Mefika. But you know, now the next time it's all about patching up these holes zenye zinawafanya wanakosa hata win in the group stages. By the way, ukiona the stats, ukisikia watu wanasoma stats za group stages, like it's worrying by the to hear, but people look at the stats and they forget the journey that they've come through. So the journey has been, you know, 50-50 because now of this group stage part, but I feel like they still have a lot to offer as we continue, so they can patch up the holes. Yeah. So
Mike, I don't know, should we, okay, let me not play the devil's advocate here, stay in your boys, but now who should we blame? Because let's say wakati wali win the FKF Cup, they were so aware of the magnitude of work that is ahead in terms of continental assignments na pia Kenya Premier League, because nothing will stop just because of a confederation at league isimame because of them. And we also know they had some few games in hand. I think some bakisha mbili, they had up to almost 5 games. So do you think it is the management's problem, the team's problem, ama tunaweza laumu nani especially for sleeping on their work? Because we saw even they released so many players mid-season pia. Now knowing that they have this, they have to go home and away. So who do we blame when it comes to hizi mambo za sasa having fatigue creeping in? Inapata sasa team inachoka hata hizi tuza game mbili per week.
I think I let's fall to the management. The truth be told, they've tried the best. If you look at how they've been managing the team since it came to the limelight and all through this particular tournament, we've not had any negative energy from the management, from the team itself. I think it's an issue of I think it's inexperience, you know. You can have good players and all that, but here the experience matters. You're playing against Wydad Casablanca that has players like Wissam Ben Yedder, players like who's this player when you alikuwa Chelsea?
Ziyech.
Hakim Ziyech and all that. And we know Morocco has one of the best leagues in the world. We're talking about an Azam that has been here for some time, no? Has played in such tournaments. So here the experience comes in. The management can do everything good, but sometimes experience plays a very big part. And this being a team that wasn't on anybody's on many people's mouths 2 years ago, and it's here right now, and that shock of we're here now. And I might be wrong in this, but maybe I might say that maybe they didn't foresee a situation where they'll be where they are today. I might be wrong in this, okay? But maybe that's the case here. So but that's why I'm talking about the margins that they're losing from. It's a 1-0 lose margin, no? Very minimal margin. So it's experience comes in here, because if they had an experience and maybe somebody to calm their heads down and tell them that these are just any other teams. They're like any other teams, you can just win whichever way. Maybe they could score when they score a single goal. It's unlevel. It gives an advantage. But you see, lack of that conversion of goals. And if you want to know that the management is doing good, look at the players they're signing. Now they have Amala, they ranks. They're one of the best strikers to ever come out of this country. So you can't say that they're not doing enough. You know, they might have lost Manzuru Kwaro, but he didn't play as much games that you can say that he was quite appealing that particular team. So I feel like it's that an issue of experience here. It's what is ailing them up now.
Yeah. So let's pray that given that the number of teams zenye zimekuwa next year, say tuko na FKF Cup and also we have the league, the teams now zinaona how big the task is, and we pray that this year actually ikianza we will have a good show, and that at least hata kama tutashinda sana tutashinda kidogo. Alafu pia lastly before we shift focus, tuliona hiyo game na boys are at home, and funny enough Wydad Casablanca wako na more fans than Nairobi United. Is it that tuseme mafans wali give up ama ama walijua tu ni kichapo tu tusijipe pressure? What happened?
I think that's a mentality thing, Kenyan mentality, and also the fact that Wydad fans turned up in large, like wengine traveled like all the way from Morocco, and they turned up in large numbers than our outnumbered our home fans. Sijui that's something to do with like, you know, mentality. This is a quality team, so, or that don't care mentality. But I feel that like that's so wrong. You know, we are coming from a place whereby right now the Kenyan football is bringing back the fans in the stadiums since Chan 2024, and it has really reignited that urge for the fans to follow Kenyan football. Local football kitambo ilikuwa imeshaanza, like mafans walikuwa wameanza kuzimia, like hauko unapata like more fans wakiongelelea Kenyan football. The stadiums ulikuwa unaona tu they are very like venye tu ziko tu no fans, but ikakuwa reignited, you know, and the football yenye imekuwa ikichezwa sasa mafans wameanza ku return. So kwa hii game I don't know, it's just something to do with the, you know, mentality and also like the don't care thing, because I feel like in the position where Nairobi United are, maybe they haven't performed well since they have entered the group stages, and they are facing a strong side that has quality players when you're matches in high quality leagues. So unapata the fans are like it's just there, you know, the best win. Nairobi United wakiweza kupula win, then it's gonna be better, but unapata there's no fans. No, kama kungekuwa na more fans actually sisi ndo tunasemekana we are the 12th man in the pitch. So I feel like also kama tungekuwa hapo like in large numbers and tungepea like our team the support that they deserve, I feel like maybe ingekuwa a different result, because it was just a 1-0 lead. And maybe tungeeka hiyo push the Nairobi United players waweze pia kuchallenge the wider FC team. But you know, it's something that people can just talk over and over about it, because it's so, you know, it's also, you can't even tell like how this happened. It shows how this team has support, because if people can travel across Africa from north to east just to support their team, it shows how the, you know, management pay may support your team, quality pay of their league there in Morocco. If you compare it with ours, like that can literally tell you how the situation is. Like they are miles ahead of us, but we are still coming. So that now paints a picture.
And just add something. I think the lack of fans, I think it was out of not. I feel like maybe itongaje ile kuuza that match. Itongaje to sell the match, you know, to the people. We didn't see some good advertisements on that, because, and there's one thing I saw on Saturday about they called upon all maybe primary schools or schools around Nairobi to come and watch them freely, but it came at a later date, a day. If you had said this earlier, maybe schools would have arranged themselves and maybe brought these children to watch that match. So I feel like marketing, I think, was a problem. If at all they marketed well, and maybe from our televisions, because this is a team that is representing the country. And this I feel like even if KFB they would have helped on the marketing side. So I feel like it was a failure on our part as Kenya. I'm not saying Nairobi United, of course, being on the forefront, but Kenya actually failed Nairobi United. But it's something we can learn from. Next time when we have our home team representing the country in a continental fate, we're supposed to show up for them, because at the end of the day, it's not a local rivalry. This is a team that represents the flag. Now we are supposed to be there. So the FKF will chip in also to help advertising, to make sure that people come in and help even the players there. Because the 13th player or the man is very as important as any other player when it comes to football.
Yeah, that's true, because I have so many friends pale X, and wengi ni wa Gor Mahia. They never support Nairobi United, never, sijawahi waona. Like wako ni sworn enemies, sworn enemies. Wanasemaga tu hawa ni Naiboys, we are not supporting them. Hata jana walikuwa wana support Casablanca. So I think it's high time we just try, and it's me. Okay, personally I felt ashamed, because how do you go as Nairobi United, amjaweka posters, amja create a buzz about the whole thing, it's a Confederation Cup. The whole week kumenyamaza, hata social media zenu ziko so quiet bana, hakuna ile hakuna msisimuko. Then at the end of the day you send an invite to watoto wa shule. kwani ni Moide. That is watu wa shule wanakujaga Madaraka Day, Jamhuri Day, ndio wabebe flag hivi rais akipita. So I didn't know how impactful watu wa shule wangekuwa in such a nini, unless they were targeting university students ama wa secondary, of which hata wengine maybe they don't even know Nairobi United exists. So I think that's what a poor strategy, and as you have said, we need to pull up our socks in that regard, because ndio tukuwe na fans, especially those neutral fans, those who just love football. Lazima tuwapatie reason why wanakuja. So no, because Kenya tunapenda buzz. If you don't create a buzz about something, no one is coming there. So with this buzz thing tunaongelelea, tumesema 14th February ni Saturday, Jamhuri Day, Valentine's Day siku ya wapenda nao, na sisi tunapenda mpira. So tunapenda rugby. So kumekuwa na buzz, kumekuwa wakati HSBC rugby imetangazwa Kenya na Kenya Rugby Union wameipush sana, na tumeona pia bantas zimekuwa from Kabras, mpaka mwingine niliona admin wa Kabras anaandika hapo ati they were supposed to play I don't know which team imenipotea, then the team didn't show up, alafu wanaandika hapo ati yani team ngoja to train the whole week, alafu tunawapigia simu weekend hata washiki so tumewapigia for the last 3 hours ni wateja, and you could see the comments, unaona. So people wana feel alive kitu kama hiyo. Then all of a sudden kukatangazwa about the upcoming series ya HBC, ni second tier, so first tier, so ni second tier, but tickets ziko sold out. Like game ijaanza lakini hadi finally ticket ya finali shauzwa. So what do we learn, what can football learn from rugby yenye itafanya to maybe attract such buzz?
I think exactly what rugby did. Exactly, it is self-explanatory, because I feel like, you see, the tickets are being outsold like a week to the tournament, and it's quite amazing show, because you see, when you create those when you create noise around the social media platforms, when you create noise on our mainstream media, when you create noise and do challenges and all that, people will get to hear about them. Do you know that there's a possibility that there's some fans who never knew about travel, but we want to go there because anyone wants to get away once in a while, especially when it's a weekend, you know, after a tough week of working, you want to a place just to get away out of the buzzing work. So that is what you get when you do the right things when it comes to marketing a tournament or a match and all that, you know. So I feel like football can learn a lot from KRU, a lot, because I myself, okay, I'm not a rugby enthusiast, but I knew about it, and I followed about it. I even saw the statement saying, confirming that the tickets are sold out. So anybody who sells you any ticket from now on, that one is not a genuine person in Coronona. So I know about that, and I'm not a rugby enthusiast. No, I love football, but I never saw anything about Nairobi United in the build-up to this match. I only saw it on Saturday because I had to, as I was doing research. So how many people do research about these things? Not so many. But when you make noise about them, people will want to come out there. People will want to watch a match. If you look at Nairobi United at the local scene, it has a good number of followers. It has people come to watch that game. I've watched their game at the Stadium once, and people there was a good turnout there. A sensible one. So why didn't they turn up in the same way at Kasarani? So it's just about the noise that you create, the noise on social media. We have social media right now. We don't have to go and tell everybody on their ears or knock on people's doorsteps. We just social media pages. Even our mainstream media, the televisions and all that, they help push such things there. So I feel like it's a good show for the KRU, and football can learn a lot from them. A lot from them.
And after today, Madam Grace Alokulu was being interviewed with one of the local stations, akaambiwa sasa tickets zimejaa, akasema tickets hazijajaa. Hata tickets zimeisha ndio, but already from the word go tuko na watch fan zones mingi sana across the country zenye already mafans zimeanza kubukiwa. It's full, like it's full. So you can imagine hii ni rugby, kitu yenye watu wengi wanasemanga, hata former prime minister alikuwa anasema played by thugs, watched by gentlemen, because of how physical it is. Lazima tu kuweka tag fulani, but tumeona already, angalia hizi structures wameka into place, like they anticipated hiyo, na already hata before game ya kwanza ichezwe weekend, already fan zones zishawekwa already, unaona, in anticipation kwamba kutakuwa na game fulani. So Manu, do you think what do you think about hizi vitu in terms of preparation, because kama ni football tunajua iko na mafans na pia kuna wakana hii ilikuwa tunasema the neutral person. Kuna mtu mwenye atasema mimi Valentine yangu napeleka mrembo wangu sijui tutampeleka wapi, but now you need to convince that person on the same. So maybe in terms of social media use, alafu pia na marketing to kama football fan, ni nini ungependa kuona yenye unajua hii na hii kiekwa it will really push me hata kama sipendi rugby niende tu ni watch?
I just choose the example ya hii game ya Nairobi United na Wydad FC, because there was nothing that was being like, hata kama ilisema ilikuwa late, kama ilikuwa inatangazwa, mimi hata kukuja kujua hiyo story nilikuja kujua through Hakim Ziyech in Kenya. So niko like, oh, so what is Hakim Ziyech doing in Kenya? Like, because now he's ni one of those players wenye ukiona amekuja Kenya, like kina Abamaya, kina nani, you know, like there's something, akina Minte, you know, like there's something to captivate. But they didn't even use that advantage. Like Hakim Ziyech is a player that he has played in those top top leagues, zile places competitive is so ni mse mwenye anatambulika sana, hata wa Kenya like wangetumia hata advantage ya nani in Kenya, cause Ziyech in Kenya because he has played in the Premier League. People we have Chelsea supporters, unaona, they could have used that as an advantage. I remember later Aubameyang came, I don't know if it was a friendly or it was a
Gabon, yeah. Kenya versus it qualify, yes,
actually yes. And you could see the turnout. The fans were going crazy. I was even telling Mike, like, most Kenyans wamekuja hapa because of the Arsenal thing. Aubameyang was a former Arsenal player. Yeah. So hiyo kitu ndo imevutia wasee sasa, because wanataka kuona Aubameyang ule alicheza Arsenal alifunga mabao. So in this case Ziyech amekuja, wangetumia hata media ingetangaza like, you know, this is a big personality in football. He has played in top environments, so leagues kama ni Premier League, and the media inge captivate sasa ma fans. I think sasa hapo ndio the advertising and the you know hiyo kutangaza ili fail, because sasa unapata there was low turnout, even the visitors wana turn out more than the home fans. So I feel like they failed. I don't know, the media, I felt like I could push your advertising and the marketing, I could market at the best. So I feel like, unaona, let's say if we have, even us, if we are taking part in those kind of competition, and maybe there is something that can captivate people to come to, ni kama Cristiano Ronaldo kuje Kenya, it will bring people to state like friendly to Al Nassr and maybe a local team imekuwa organized, sponsors wamekuja ku agree, you'll see people turning out. So I feel like your use of media to captivate fans when a big personality amekuja in our country haijakuwa utilized vizuri, and that's where now the marketing fails. The sponsors, you know, your collaboration, yeah, maybe a certain media and the team, I feel like they should do more, because now we'll be having more of this. We'll be having like friendlies. We are having AFCON 2027 coming in next year. So I feel like now in this coming, because now a lot of friendlies will be like made in order to prepare Kenya for the AFCON, and also these competitions, maybe the 4 countries zenye zina prepare for maybe to prepare Kenya for the AFCON. Yeah. So I feel like they should do more on that. They should captivate like the fans like through marketing and the advertising. Like we have a lot of platforms. Kenya has media, social media kwanza sai, Kenyans are so captivated in social media. So I feel like when they use social media the right way, it will bring a lot of fans together. And ata actually the neutral fan, ule mwenye doesn't know about football, aone something imetangazwa like this person in Kenya things like that, it will bring more people to watch football. Juzi kama, I think it was Obi Mikel, as in Kenya. Things like that will now bring fans. Like those people who are wanafuatilia football majuu, now the legend is in Kenya, they're like, wow, ita captivate wase waende ile place yenye maybe the legend is there. So I feel like using those opportunities, ita captivate wase kujua more about even the local league.
Yeah, we should do more in that regard, because I really felt jealous nikisikia huyo president wa rugby vile anaongea aki-advertise rugby, mpaka anasema don't worry, if you don't love rugby, I definitely know you love good music. Tunakuwa na time where by now tunajibamba tu. So after 14 minutes of rugby, una dance, unapiga picha, then also you have time to interact with the players, unapiga ma-selfie, unaget. Then kuna venye alikuwa anaongea mpaka una feel too, man, I really need to be here. Anyway, it's a lesson that we can learn. Make us maybe transition now. Tuko na issue ya Kasarani bwana. Morocco wamefika, Wydad Casablanca kwa grau, then kama vile Manchester United na any other team inapiganga match day, bali wakapiga picha Kasarani's grass, the grass in yellow, inakaa kama hapo. Then baadaye ndio tunaapologizewa na tuambia ati jua ni kali, they will be closing up the stadium for renovations and stuff like that. What image does it create, especially kwa Sports Kenya who are managing stadiums na wanalipa like players, mtu akihaya ile stadium they pay 50k kama ni kidogo and above. What does that speak about management, na how can you trust them with the talanta kama hii ni Kasarani wanaifanya hivi?
I think it's not something new to Kenya, such stories. These things have been there. Remember, anytime there's a tournament in Kenya, is why now people rush for renovations at the last minute. It's been happening for quite some time. Literally since I was born, I've seen that happening. And such a picture is a very bad picture for Kenya, especially now that we are looking at hosting African Cup of Nations, you know? And showing that. And there was once somebody who asked this question: what will happen to Atlanta Stadium after the AFCON 2027? Because it's such a marvel to behold right now that it's still under construction and looking at maybe hosting that African Cup of Nations. But what happens after, you know? And that shows how much sports is looked, how we view sports in this country, especially the management team. Sports Kenya, who are mandated to be running to be taking care of the stadiums, you know. There's a lackluster on these people, and that is quite wrong. It's a bad picture for the country, not just for Sports Kenya, for the whole country, because you can't be having that in just a year to the 2027 African Cup of Nations. And I hope the Ministry of Sport is going to take that thing seriously and try to see how these things can be, how to maintain our facilities. You know, building a grand facility is one thing, but maintaining it is another thing. You know, it's the most important thing of all. And I hope it's something they've learned from, and you cannot even blame this. That is crazy. That is stupid blaming that kulikuwa najua. Kwa wapi tunajua shwari? Jua inaokanga everywhere literally. So what? So did you expect Jua to be that's a very lame defense pale, lakini I hope they learn from that. And if it calls for reshuffling of the people who are mandated with the maintaining of the stadiums, let it happen, or just hand over the body or the maintenance of the stadiums to another body that is more serious than that, you know. And these issues, and it just builds up on the frustrations that we have in this country. I was almost going to touch on something that I feel like maybe we'll talk about later on about the availability of these two stadiums now in the FKF, but it's quite shameful. It is quite shameful.
Yeah, because I read that statement, alafu wanaiweka pale kwa X of all the places, wanaiweka pale, and that is the kind of apology you are giving us. We are apologizing for this, the poor state of our stadiums, and we know that the weather is so crazy, the Bermuda grass na jua zipatani. You have groundsmen, mko na maji, you are trained, you know how to maintain pitches. Na Bermuda grass haiko Kasarani peke yake, iko kwa many pitches, because that's the standard of CAF. So should we blame jua ya Kenya peke yake, or what are you trying to say, jua ya hapo Kasarani? So I felt that was a very lame excuse. And tuna grounds zinafungwa I think from March. Kasarani inakuwa unavailable, Nyayo inakuwa unavailable for the foreseeable future. And now this brings us to another problem juu Mashemeji derby kuna hiyo uwezekano ya kukosekana kwa uwanja because now hizo mbili zikifungwa tumefungwa because Ulinzi complex ni ndogo. Police Sacco pia we can't trust it. Haiwezi beba mashemeji, haiwezi beba more than 20,000 fans. Ipo kutakuwa na drama. So Manu, looking at this, na ndio nilikuwa tunaongelea kuhusu Nairobi United. Tukasema kwamba Nairobi United knew all along ya kwamba they were supposed to go to Confederation Cup. They will need a bigger squad than this because now they're not only going to play 38 matches. Kuna uwezekano if they go up to the final watacheza up to 50. Yes. Because ukiongeza mpaka FKF Cup which inaanzia round of 64, kuna 32, kuna 16, kuna 8, uende 4, uende 2. Unaona? So unaangalia more than 50. Kuna hiyo possibility, okay, no one goes into a competition akisema hii itatoka group stage. Ama hii itatokea round of 64. You can find yourself going all the way kama vile Arsenal iko. I know Arteta angeambiwa angeenda all the way in the Carling Cup, akona likelihood ya kwenda the all way to the FA Cup, Champions League na Premier League. Angekuwa na human, angesema no. Unaget? Because we always, kila mtu anataka the best, right?
Yeah.
So tuko na hii situation inakuja. What does this speak in terms of sisi kuona mbele? Na pia how do you now think we can handle these situations as a stadium? Because the other time stadiums zilikuwa, but unfortunately unfortunately ilikuwa hired for something that is not football related.
Yes.
Unaona? So what do you think we should, what is the main solution? What is the main solution moving forward?
I feel like these stadiums zilikuwa tu zimerenovatiwa like juzi tu and walikuwa wanasema zimekuwa like high quality facilities, modern facilities. That means even the grass is more high quality. So hadi kufika hiyo point ati tunasikia the grass is not quality for players. Aikai presentable when the other visitors wanakuja kuchezea hapo, then that shows you how poor we are in maintenance. And I feel like something should be done there, like even juu tutaendelea tu kushinda tunafunga sijui for renovation every time, because last time tulifanya renovation for Chan and unapata the facilities high quality facilities, but also unasikia tena kuna complaints due for lighting sijui nini, like this small ni kama zinafanywa ni kama haziko completed vizuri. So I feel like going forward atakaza wanaenda kuzifunga because that will cost us, in this FKF Sportpesa League most games will be affected. Utoko tu nasikia games zingine ziko postponed because right now we are playing like twice in a week, so unapata it will be affected. Now even as we go forward I feel like also venye tumekuwa tukisema like kama ni kitu na renovatiwa or kitu inafanya for high quality ifanywe like 100%. And that's where now FKF Federation inaingililia hapo, and with all this that goes on as far as renovation is concerned. And also this will affect like the scheduling of matches, because venye umesema Mashemeji Derby needs like a ground that is, let's say, neutral, like Nyayo or Kasarani. And tukisema tunapeleka venye ingine, we all know how this happens, and we need that crowd control. So that needs like a bigger public stadium and neutral for all fans. So I feel like as we going forward, they just need to like up their game with preparations, with kama 2027 inakuja isifungwe tena because kuna vitu zingine modern zinahitaji kuwekwa like this in the name of modern, and tena zinakuja kuisha quality. Nyasi ndio hiyo, ikiwezekana hata siweke sprinklers, kwa nini? There is water. So I don't know, it's also when I say this I also feel like we are not like upping our quality as far as the sports fraternity is concerned, with the facilities and all that. So going forward I feel like also like FKF should like put measures as far as like maintenance sana is concerned, juu maintenance unapata ndo inashuka. Unapata yes, we have facilities, Kasarani imekuwa nini, hata Talanta Stadium yenye inamalizwa tu, itakuwa inamalizwa. Tutasikia tu tena if we continue inafungwa tu because renovation or I don't know, like there's a lot ahead because right now kama we are getting a chance to host AFCON 2027, will be like, you know, FIFA also will be looking at us, the FIFA hiyo body ya FIFA na we have, and also our rankings need to go up, so tutakuwa tunacheza like friendlies, you know, tournaments, also pia easy qualifiers zenye tunacheza. We need these grounds, so maintenance is key.
So Mike, for hizi teams kubwa, Ambani tena chair ameongea juzi on the same, akasema it is very shameful, it is going to happen. Kasarani inafungwa, Nyayo inafungwa, na hata akasema anasikia uchungu sana Morangasil timu ya juzi iko na uwanja yao na Gor na FC Shabana wako na Gusi, FC na Gor wana stadium. Akasema it's high time the fans, the management and everyone got serious. So focus main ya hizi timu mbili inafai kuwe nini moving forward in terms of should we now ikuwa na uwezo wa should they maybe build a stadium or maybe hire one somewhere malota sema sawa hii ni yetu juu kuna zile zinakuwa build kama hiyo ya Mombasa, kuna hiyo Kisumu inafanywa marekebisho, kuna hiyo ya obviously Kakamega Homeboyz wamechukua ile ya Bohungwa yezi kwa AFC na Gor. But what do you think now future ni gani in terms of these two teams?
This is black and white. These teams need their own stadiums. It goes without saying definitely, because we don't want to see such occurrence, you know, that the teams are crying for that there are this shortage of stadiums to host their matches, and they themselves do not put in the means to get one for themselves, because these two being the oldest teams in Kenya and the teams with the biggest following, and they're lagging behind in terms of facilities, then it's quite unfortunate, you know. And I love what Ambani is saying and what he's doing right now, because if you look at now, they have this initiative whereby the fans are contributing at least 50 shillings per day. They have a pay bill out, and fans are contributing. It might not be as much as maybe one would expect, but at least something is coming into the team. And I hope, and as he had promised, that something is going to do to make sure that the club at least tries to get some facilities, especially the clubhouse, and maybe the team the clubhouse and all that, and everything the team requires, training ground. So we need to start from somewhere. In the long run, we need to see these teams having their own stadiums. Like you said, it is very shameful that Murang'a still has Sebastian Park, a new team that just came the other day, you know. And okay, it's different because Murang'a Sales is owned by an individual. But I think if an individual can do Sebastian Park, then the community team should be doing an Old Trafford. Yeah. You know? So I feel like Gor Mahia and the Leopards have that capacity to, if they decided to, they can make it come alive. They do have because it comes with a lot of advantages. Because they'll not be losing money to hiring stadiums. Yeah. They'll not be dealing by the FKF. Today you're playing here, tomorrow the venue is changed, and now it's rented and all that. The fans don't know where they're going to play the match, maybe a day to the game, you know. We can avoid such things when these teams have their own stadiums. And I think this is something that maybe the FKF should encourage, and also find ways to help these teams acquire their own stadiums. It doesn't matter how small they are, at least when they're standard enough. Tusker have a pitch, actually, not even a stadium, but it serves them. Because when it comes to training, they go there. Yeah. There was a time when matches were being held there. Kenya Police have their own stadium. Yeah. See, so it is something that is very much possible, and we encourage. Now that Ambani has set the pace and FC Leopards, I wish Gor Mahia can do the same. Or if first come to us, they can combine and do a similar in Inter Milan. Yeah. Combine their fans and come up with a single stadium that they can both call home, that is controlled by them and them alone. You know, to avoid such problems in the future. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's true. Na ni conversation imeanza ku gather steam, and people are really looking at it as a possibility. Na mimi najua it's a conversation in the next 1 year or so itaongelelewa sana, because I'm not so sure if Talanta Stadium will be easily accessible for all Kenya Premier League matches, because ile technology imetengenezwa pale ni noma. But my plea to football stadium management, badala ya kutuandikia kwa X, kindly toweni hiyo nyasi. Mliweka Kikuyu grass mara ya kwanza, mkaambiwa Kikuyu grass haiwezi, mkatoa mkaweka Bermuda, mkaelezewa even how to take care of it. Mkaambiwa the funniest thing ni you can't be watering a stadium daily, uko chini pipe it, so that when you open nini maji na magika, the only person unaweza kwa pale nile tu wakufieka, because at least for now we don't have the technology ya kutumia ya ku level the ground when the grass grows. So ni vitu they are very shameful. Na if you want to be the big boys, tuliambiwa some wazungu wanasemaga if a cat wants to be a lion ina lose appetite for rats, because sasa utakulaje panya. So hizi vitu za sijui ati stadium haina lights, haina maji, ati stima imekatwa na Kenya Power. Man, we should tujiangalie, it's crazy. Tujiangalie, it's very crazy. Anyway, moving forward, tuachane na mambo ya FKF. I know the pressure is already too much huko kwao, and they will do something about that. I think we still have time. We can talk about FKF shockers. Tuliona Gor Mahia, we thought Gor Mahia itaua, tapiga mtu hata 10, because that was team isia kawaida, but they won 2-0. We saw FC Leopards wanapiga comeback, walinyoroshwa 2, wakapiga comeback, wakatolewa kwa penalty. Tukaona Murang'a iliua, karibu wapige kuua. Wakaambia jamani, hizi ni timu ndogo, hurumia hata wakuje zoezi Monday. Unapiga mtu mpaka anaogopa kucheza mpira tena bana. So it was crazy. So maybe our analysis of just the overall analysis of how the games went, and which results shock you, did you even expect this event, Mike?
The one that shook me, of course, is the FC Leopards game. What team was that again? BB Bread or
something? BB Bread. Yeah, I got up a chin. A regional team.
What really happened, man? I'm like, do you know, I didn't watch that game, but I was following the game. In first half, it was 2-0, and I was like, we'll come back. I remember I was with my brother. I was with my brother at home, and we were talking about it. And I told him, "Ito piga comeback, hakuna shida." Then I'm going to look at the end game, but 2-2. Of course, I'm happy. Then we go to penalties. You know, when it comes to penalties, we're never sure which side takes the day. But that's quite shameful for FC Leopards, a team that maybe we were saying that now we are seeing now the FC Leopards that we used to know, and FC Leopards that can compete, and then you're beaten by a BB Bread somewhere. It's crazy happenings. And also Murang'a Seals, come on, it wasn't that serious. Pick up 4 bus, come on, too much. Pick up 4, chana nayo, because at the end of the day you only have 3 points. And it's just it's actually knockout.
Knockout.
So just move to the next. 2-0. It's just a knockout. Come on, 9-0 is quite demoralizing. But anyway, acha sema ukipata mnyonge piga, because we don't see that in the FKF Premier League Sport Pesa. So ukipata rules are discipline vizuri ukinipishia wengine. Hata itastoa wengine. So kudos to the teams that progress to the next round. Gor Mahia, people can say maybe they underperformed, but I feel like qualifying is enough. Yeah, it's enough. It's enough for them, you know. Only the Stars ilikuwa worse, but anyway. So that it is what it is, and shame. It's quite a shame for my team that I love so much, the FC Leopards, and I'm so saddened by that, because I feel like if I told you we are not going to win the league, maybe this was the tournament to win, maybe and get to the Confederations Cup, you know. So it's quite a chance lost, and as much as all is not lost, because we are still in the position to win the league. I think maybe unless kama watasema kwamba we wanted to go out and maybe focus on the league, which you're never sure about, but still. It is what it is. I'm quite disappointed by the performance yesterday.
Manu, what is the analysis of everything that happened from FC, Gor Mahia, Ulinzi, and everyone else?
I feel like mi napendanga sana like the cup competition aside from the league. Sasa when the cup game starts, you know, Mozart bet imeanza na sasa hapo ndio unaona like the real thing starts, because we see SportPesa League how nature yake venye iko, it's competitive. Now when you come to the cup and hapa sasa ndio unapatanga like kuna shockers, and I feel like now this round of 64 ndo imetuonyesha a lot. Shockers hazikosangi in Mozartbet Cup, and I think that's what I can like conclude with just the Mozartbet Cup, because there is more. Sasa tumeingia round of 32. The draw will be out. We don't know venye zitakuwa, but it will be there will be more shockers. Like when we even go to like the last season's cup, the shocker of course was Nairobi United winning. Nobody saw this team being able to win the cup, and the fact that they were in the final with Gor Mahia, it tells you that was like this cup usually it's so unpredictable, you can't tell. Right now tumeona FC Leopards already washabow out already, and it's just round of 64. This shows you how like the cup is so unpredictable. You will get these teams from the regions zenye maybe we don't get to hear from them all the time, but they when gotten wakipewa chance they shine, and I feel like that's all about the cup. Unapata kuna ile team inataka kujionyesha, prove others wrong, that they can be able to compete with the top teams. So I feel like the good example ni BB Bread versus FC Leopards. Also it was nilioneo game FC Leopards waliweza kubounce back, but hiyo kukua 2-0 down in the first half already that's a shocker. And in the manner in which waliweza kuiconcede, another shocker, because FC Leopards, we know the caliber of a team FC Leopards is. They are not expected to concede goals like that. Zote ni like from set piece setup. Just loss of concentration. The first one on goal, iliribambo one of the players kaingia, the second one set piece again. Vitu zenye they don't have to concede. They don't have to be conceding every now and then, and this is the cup. One of the alternatives, if the league fails, you have the cup. So now we know there's a price for the cup. So feel like they've missed a lot. We can't just assume that now they will focus on the league. They've really missed a lot, because this was another chance. But all in all, it has happened. Cup ni all about to just be on the lookout. Even if you're a top team or you're just a regional team, you don't know what can happen. We have seen Wasana chapana 9-1, 8-0. Ni sawa, but now uko mbele itaendelea kutupea other dramas. And I feel like that's now what we love to see in the Kenyan football. The competition, the unpredictability. That's why I love most about the cup, other than the SportPesa League. Yes.
That's amazing. Yeah, there's so much to talk about when it comes to matters Kenyan football. Hii tuwezi maliza today, but also remember we need to also kupanda ndege tuendele pande ingine, because also huko pia kulikuwa na action packed. Jana tuliona a very boring first half between Man City and Liverpool, and I was like, man, what am I even watching? Unaona, ilibidi nianze kuchat. Second half ikaanza ikiwa hivi, towards the end too much drama. Bao na red card, which one is very important? Tijui. But you can choose one, 3-1 ama 1 man down. Referee to choose one. Referee akasema I love red cards more than the goal, so I will take the red card. So that's what happened. Liverpool wakapigwa red yao hapo dakika ya mwisho when it was supposed to be 3-1. So it was a very good goal, by the way, but Cherokee, try and again next time. So we're going to take a short commercial break, and when we come we will transition. Kuko na a lot to talk about Sai Carrick ball. And we always give new styles each and every day. Mbuma alileta ingine this week that we will use for this week. Atuitumia sana, because also remember Tuesday now we are back. We are back again. Kuko na games on Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday. So it is actually action packed, and when we come back tuko na a lot. We have to talk about the results and also preview the next matches zinaanza from Tuesday to Wednesday. In the meantime, don't touch that dial. We'll be back in a few. And before to end the break, we were talking about the Kenyan Premier League, also pia the state of study na vitu kama hizo. If you missed it, you can still find us on our Facebook page. Rewind tu hapo tu kidogo, then you listen to what we had to say, and also maybe you can also contribute and tell us what you think about that. Sahii pia tumeona the English Premier League is heating up, pressure under pressure and pressure over pressure, whereby now the top 6 difference imeongezeka pale kwa Liverpool is 5 points, but now the difference between Man United, Chelsea and Aston Villa is just 3 points, whereby if Man United plays before West Ham, they go to number 3. If Aston Villa loses, they come to number 4, so they're at number 5. So kuna hiyo pressure. Then pale juu Arsenal and Man City is still heating up because just 6 points, which is 2 games. And keep it in mind that also Arsenal still need to play Man City, so that will look like a final. And also remember, also Chelsea is just on the horizon. I think it is probably the 3rd game after this weekend. Chelsea are also visiting Emirates. Will they revenge? Will they make the United opposition of football happy, or will they continue their battering? Because Arsenal has been battering Chelsea for the longest. So those are 2 of the most important games tunangoja tuone sana. Of course kuna the London Derby, which Arsenal has been dominated since Harry Kane and Son left. Tottenham has been a shadow of its former self. Anyway, so tumekuwa na so much action on Saturday, which actually started on Friday. We had a game where Leeds beat Nottingham Forest 3-1. We also had Manchester United winning against Tottenham 2-0. We had Bournemouth and Aston Villa drawing 1-1, which was a very good result for CC haters because it reduced the difference between Man United and Aston Villa. Everton continuing their crazy run, win against Fulham 2-1. Also had Arsenal. If you look at that game and you look at the score, you'll wonder how did Arsenal win against Sunderland. Football is that crazy because Sunderland was superb in all ways, and for the first time, we will talk about that. We saw Saliba struggling against a striker. It's something that does not happen easily, but Bromby is busy. That guy is huge, like Adama Traore. Then also had Burnley against West Ham, where West Ham continued their rising with 2-0 lead. Then Wolverhampton and Chelsea. Palmer, the king of penalties, is back. Penalty merchant. Alipewa penalty zake hapo akafunga and having a hat-trick. But fantasy does not know that. Alipatia to 30 points all the same. We also had Newcastle and Brentford, a game that had so much flair, but Brentford won 3-2. Brighton continue their dwindling fortunes. Wale, I don't know what is happening to them. They lost to Crystal Palace, who are also struggling by 1-0. They also get the last game of the week, the biggest of them all, which had so much controversy. Man City versus Liverpool, where Liverpool again lost to Man City, and City doing a double over them for the first time in over 5 years. So you can imagine how crazy that is. So tuanze na Carrick, because Carrick is the talk of town and we need to give him his flowers. Kumekuwa na a lot of talk, and some annoy me, some make me wonder, some zinaniweka pa katikati. Kuna yule mwenye anasema Carrick is riding on Amorim's foundation, kwamba Amorim alimfanyia kazi, sasa yeye amekuja tu kumaliza. And others are saying Carrick is a genius. Wengine wanasema it's a new manager bounce, like coach ni mpya, vitu zinakuwa mpya. Maybe starting from the extreme, because Ronnie is just joining us now. Ronnie, which of them is right? Ama none of the above?
I think everyone is open to their own opinion, but I look at it as the case of maybe Company at Burnley. He was let me say a big manager with big tactics, but unfortunately he was managing a small team who were unable to maybe capitalize on whatever tactics that he had at the time. And then he went to Bayern Munich, and all of a sudden the team completely rose and it was a completely different performance at Bayern Munich. Same case as Michael Carrick. He was at Middlesbrough. Yeah. And unfortunately for them, they started off very well, but in the second season they dropped a bit. And now you look at him at Manchester United. He has played what is it? Is it 6 or 7 games?
Yes,
and he has not lost. That is counting.
If you count from the.
He has not lost a single game, and he has played against Tuchel, he has played against Arteta, he has played against Pep Guardiola, he has played against Thomas Frank, and very good managers, and he has been able to win these games. So we have to give Michael Carrick his flowers at the end of the day. And I think one thing that is, let me say, annoying me as a Manchester United fan is the fact that people are saying that these are fluke wins. You know, it's just a new manager bounce. If you look at the teams that we're playing against, Manchester City, Arsenal, who else? Spurs, these are very good teams.
Fulham.
They've been performing very well. Yeah, even Fulham as well. They've been performing very well. Arsenal were literally unbeaten this season at home. But Michael Carrick was able to break that streak. So we have to give him the credit at the end of the day. I think if you look at the team that he has at the moment, he's able to play them to their strengths, unlike what Amorim was doing when he was here. So at the end of the day, we have to give credit not only to Michael Carrick, even the players themselves, because they've completely stepped up and they're performing week in, week out.
Nimeona kumekuwa na issue ya Kobe Maino and Gary Lineker was juzi akiojiwa akasema kwamba if yeye angekuwa Maino sasa angekuwa na lawyers wanne wako pale Old Trafford creating a case against Amorim for wasting 1 year. For wasting 1 year of Kobe Maino, angesema yeye angemfunga for damages. So there Kobe tumemwona hizi game zote 4 playing a central role. Juzi tu ndio ametolewa for the first time, hajacheza 90 minutes and I believed it's because of Tuesday, because Tuesday kuko na West Ham. So Kobe Maino as a player, do you think Amorim failed as a coach, or ni Amorim ama ni Kobe was ni Amorim hakuelewa Kobe ni mtoto bado kuna hiyo up and down, or it's just the system thing that was not working for Maino? Manu,
you know, ukiangalia sasa hivi venye Maino anacheza, unaweza kaa hivi chini ujiulize mbona alikuwa anawekwa hostage na Amorim all that time. I feel like it was Amorim's you know, choice yake, like kucheza Fernandes hiyo position ya like holding central midfielder, and Maino, who is also, you know, looking at the World Cup, because World Cup is literally around the corner. He will be like, definitely he's putting the work because he wants to be starting. He wants to play. He wants more playing time because of the World Cup, and also to improve himself as a player because he's still young. But feel like Amorim alikuwa tu anamweka stage. It's just venye tu every coach has like a preference of a player, and I feel like for Amorim being like exile nani hivyo, it was so unfair considering what he has offered in the past, even before Amorim joined, when Amorim was still when Ten Hag was around, and Maino, that's where Maino burst into the scene. Na aliweza ku show his quality in the midfield, specifically at a point where the midfield of Manchester United is suffering. Maino was really needed, and that's why he broke into the scene. Aliweza ku show his quality. Now the thing with like Amorim wanting to play Fernandes behind, I think it was just like a system thing and also preference. Yeah, Amorim I think alikuwa tu a stubborn coach, because nule coach mwenye anataka vitu ziende his way, like hata umwambie mara ngapi acheze back 4, yeye atarudi bado back 3, still stubborn, you know. Anakuwa urgent, play this player this position, you know, yeye anataka venye anataka like yeye mwenyewe. And you know, like the reason for his sacking is like how alikuwa anataka kufanya his own decisions, but now the management and the board inamwambia no, like, and that's how they parted with. So I feel like right now Maino is given a chance now to shine again. Carrick is using the players to their strengths, and I think that's where Maino is benefiting from this team. That's where now the heart of like every position in the Manchester United, every player, because the midfield is where like the heart. It's where the defense and the attack zinakuwa linked. So if you don't have a good midfield, then you'll be exposed. And I feel like Maino kuwekwa hapo, we know his quality. He has really brought the stability, and I know most Manchester United fans are calling for the Casemiro Maino partnership, because it was seen before even Amorim came. So hiyo stint ya Amorim ilikuwa ina frustrate watu wengi sana with Amorim with Maino not playing. So right now ni Amorim too, the stubbornness and the preference. Yeah.
So okay, wazungu wanasemanga good riddance to bad rubbish, ama you think maybe something else happened? Because Amorim for the first time against Newcastle alicheza back 4 na it was one of his best performances as a Man United coach, na akaeka the first clean sheet after me concede for almost 7 games, akashinda against Newcastle 1-0 at Old Trafford. Then the following game akarudi kwa vituko zake za back 3 na hiyo game alidraw. So do you think Amorim was an enemy of himself at Man United?
Stubbornness and trying to prove that you're right, you know. Because one thing I think Amorim was afraid of is people thinking that he was wrong from the beginning, you know. And it happens with everybody, you know. Yeah, we know his character is he's stubborn, he's tough, he talks tough, and he believes in whatever he believes in. Doesn't matter whether you like it or not. That's why one day I laughed so hard when Ratcliffe said that he would tell Ratcliffe fuck off, and he would say that to Ratcliffe, like openly, when Ratcliffe tried to tell him to change the system, you know. Yeah, that is the owner, that is the employer, man. So that's just Amorim, you know. And I think I would say that I would say he was his own enemy, especially with the fact that when he, for the first time he tried to listen, it worked. Then he reverted back to his idea, and it failed again. You know, so he is his worst enemy. You know, and there's one thing I know. One thing I always say that some things or sometimes in life you need to adjust to the situation. You know, this system might have worked in Portugal, but in England it's a different ball game. We play differently here. It's very physical. People mark spaces and all that. So you need to have a pattern that feeds that takes it to an advantage, you know. Carrick, when you say that Carrick is riding on Amorim's foundation, that's very wrong. That's a lie. Because Amorim had that foundation. He did perform the way Carrick is performing. So there's nothing like that. In fact, Carrick has bettered these players by playing them into the natural positions. He just doing the right. He just came in and did the right thing, and that is just all. I can't say that Carrick is a tactical genius. I can't say that, but I can say that he plays to the strength of the team. That's why you see now. Right now, nobody's blaming Dalot about his performances because he's playing at his natural position. So you see, we're not seeing a lot of errors that he was committing. Right now, you don't even see the Dalot running to the offensive side. No, it's more on his defensive side, and maybe just going a little bit in front and passing the ball to the right people. You see, that's playing to the strength of the players at your disposal. Sometimes you may not have the best talents in your team, but when you play them to their strengths, they can bring out a performance. That's why it's called a team, not an individual. It's a team. So a team can be created by that, just playing somebody where they're comfortable. That's just what Carrick did.
Yeah, and it's true because as Ronnie was saying before, after the sacking, when he took over as the interim manager, he went on a run. He only drew with Chelsea but won the rest of the matches before actually leaving for Ralf Rangnick to do his genuine pressing at Man United. So I think it's something that we'll be keeping a look on, because Saia kona some easy matches na easy matches ndo zimekuwaga the problem of Man United for the longest, because we always stand up against big teams, alafu easy teams, small teams, especially starting with West Ham this weekend. This Tuesday it will be very, very important for us to see that. Manu, this concerns you because this is your team, Arsenal. Now, Arsenal played Sunderland. Sunderland is a good team. They came to Emirates to play football. They didn't defend. They didn't play this low block thing. Alafu pia tumeweza kuona a culture whereby strikers are targeting Saliba.
Yeah.
Do you think they are seeing the cracks pale, ama ni form yake imeshuka chini? What is not happening here? Jota alikula yellow card mapema sana early in the match. Yeah.
I feel like Sunderland tunajua tu venye walitufanyia in the first leg, the resilience, the pressing, so aggressive. They are so aggressive with their play. And but this time I felt like we did alijicommit place, but all in all tuliweza kuweka clean sheet. Good goal by Zubimendi, assist Trivela, and then also the Leeds game ile nyali assist Gyökeres, and now the Sunderland game. Inaonyesha how when you feed your strikers the ball, like they won't disappoint you in the 6-yard box. Hiyo ndio kitu yetu tumekuwa tukimiss this all time. That's why watu wanaingilia Gyökeres is not of course kuna ile part yenye maybe yeye afanyi perfectly, but now hii ingine yenye like Martinelli, the people on the flanks are helping you kama hiyo bao ya mwisho yenye Martinelli could have scored for himself, but he was so unselfish na kapea Gyökeres just to increase his confidence. That's something that you love to see, like teammates helping one another, and all in all, but still the pressure is on since Man City wameshinda game yao, and we will be playing like the last game in this week. All teams zitakuwa zimecheza like Man City, Aston Villa, Man U, Chelsea. So Brentford versus Arsenal itakuwa away. Tricky fixture because Brentford right now, their last 2 games wamekuwa fiti sana on form. It's going to be so tough, but hopefully we are going to keep the composure. Just, I feel for Arsenal, it's just concentrate on our games. Hii stuff ingine ati depending on like, ati we were depending on Liverpool to beat Man City. That's like something extra like as a fan, but all in all, we need to win our games if we want to clinch this title. Concentrate on your games, win, just win, get the 3 points, and then consider the other games.
So, Ronnie, Arsenal cracking under pressure, alafu kuna issue ya Odegaard, Eze, now Havertz, alafu na Jesus. When Jesus plays, Arsenal is fluid in terms of his movement, passes and stuff. When Saka is in the team, he fails to unlock them because anafiligi entitled to, I need to score, I need to stand out, I need vitu kama hizo. Tuliona juzi hii game yao because Saka was not there. It was Madueke and Trossard. You could see those runs, they were being made. So is it high time Arteta make these tough decisions na angalia hawa wa lefty wake wawili juu wanapenda naga sana, hata hizo mapasi sasa wanapigia nanga sana Odegaard na Saka hapo sana. So do you think it's high time atafute formation either itawasuit ama amwe tu to bench them?
I think as a manager, there's some tough decisions that you have to make at the end of the day. And I think for Arsenal, especially in the position that they are right now, if they actually want to get over the line and win the Premier League, there have to be some tough decisions that have to be made. I think even Arsenal fans called out Saka in the previous game where they were saying that he was refusing to pass to Gyökeres, and he actually scored and allegedly refused to celebrate with him. So I think there's definitely something going on over there. There has to be a bit of a partnership between the winger and the striker, because if you don't create for your striker, then who else do you depend on to score your goals? I think the game where they played against Sunderland was a perfect example of what you can get from Victor Gyökeres if you feed him and you play those through balls to him. He's a very good finisher, but only if you create those chances. So for Arsenal, there have to be some tough decisions made, or then again, some players have to be called out. They have to be told that at the end of the day, this is your striker. If you do not create for him, then who else do you depend on to score these goals? So I think Arsenal are in a good-ish position right now, because 6 points ahead of City. You still have to play them. You still have some Chelsea, decent fixtures, that you can get a few wins here and there. So it's a good position for them. They're still leading in the Champions League. Obviously, now we're going to a different phase where we're going to see teams being knocked out. But we saw them get very close last season. So this could be the season where they completely silence their haters and actually get over the line and win these titles, because they're there for the winning. And you saw PSG last season, they were the ones who topped the group stage, and they ended up winning the Champions League. So it's very possible for Arsenal to do it this season, and if they do maintain that consistency, then they'll actually do it.
Mike, tumeona wakisema kwa in fact Arsenal are favorites in all their competitions. They are favorite for the Champions League, favorite for the Premier League, favorite for the FA Cup. They are also favorite to beat Man City in the Carabao Cup. Like they are favorite everywhere. But we'll look into it and maybe decide later on what to do. There is this question as we combine with Man City, because time is also up for us. The win, the Man City win, and how it happened. The drama and everything in it. Is it the push that Man City need to go all the way against Arsenal? And also, is it time that Arteta should now narrow his priorities? Aseme mimi sasa nataka Premier League na FA, ama Premier League na Carling, ama Premier League na Champions League, ama ende all out for the 4 to the end?
I think there's one manager who is very disturbed right now is Arteta. Because you can decide to let go of everything and go with the fewest caps and to lose all of them that he has been doing. And also can decide to concentrate on all of them and you lose all of them, of course. And that's a very big chance, you know. So Arteta is in a very confusing place right now, and I wouldn't want to be him right now. But it is Arsenal, you know what it does, and but I think this is I think I said to play haram as long as they come.
It's very very key. Alafu pia kumekuwa na hiyo so much inconsistency in terms of how you are performing. Sometimes you play badly and win, although which is good because that's how champions are made. You find a way to win even when you're not supposed to be winning. Yes. So will you narrow down to priorities? Useme sijawahi beba Champions League, let me focus on this. Alafu pia it's been long since I took the Premier League. Go do away with to hell with the FA Cup, to hell with the Carling Cup.
No, I think akifanya hivyo atapoteza tena. Even though imekuanga like in the last 3 seasons unapata we bow out to like Carabao Cup na FA Cup mapema ndio to focus kwa Premier League or Europa League, Premier League or Champions League. Definitely Champions League haikuwa like that easy, so Premier League ndio ilikuwa like in already in our hands. So unapata you lose it, and that's how unapata you go trophyless because you prioritize on one trophy and it slips, like things zina happen. Unapata an injury kama ile time tulipata injury ya Saliba na ikatu cost to the league. So I feel like this time you should know every game is a big game. For every Arsenal game right now it is a big game because right now we should just prioritize on everything. As risky as it sounds, because now that's where you know tutajua kama team iko worthy kushinda any of the trophies, because Arsenal has a decent squad depth, squad mzima, squad list to key name. This is a team that like nilisema hata tukianza season, this is a team that ukipea a very quality manager, this is a treble winning team. So right now it's up to the coach, because the end watakuwa na make decisions, anachagua kama right now this phase it is so tricky. Tunacheza a lot of games zitakuwa zinakuja very thick and fast, right? Nilikuwa naona start ingine like sijui I think we'll play Man City I think 4 times if Sansana in the Champions League tuangukie in one side of the phase of the knockouts, tunaweza face 4 times.
Yeah.
It is going to be so heavy. So I hope Arteta is very prepared, like the squad is prepared, because this is every game that they are going to play, it's going to be a decider. So I feel like Arteta has a lot to do mentally sana. Mentally ndio ina affecting our players sana. 3 seasons ago we weren't prepared mentally. These players were putting their heads down very early. Tunaenda 2-0 up, tunakuja tena 2-2 twice in like consecutively. So this season I feel like he shouldn't like concentrate. He should just go all in. We have the squad. He has the squad. He shouldn't lose. So yeah, that's it for Arsenal. They have a lot in their hands.
Yeah, we are technically out of time because another producer amekuja kutuchungulia hapa tuambie tokeni studio. So I'll just mention 2 comments. Huyo anasema greetings from Etihad. Najua anachekelea watu wa Arsenal. It is okay. Pamgach anasema I'm laughing at someone who is still asking who is going to win the Premier League. Is it not clear already? Arsenal won it the day they beat Leeds. Tunangoja tu sherehe sisi. We will be there. We will be there to remind you of all these things. So thank you so much for joining us, because if we continue past here tutafika saa 10 and we'll be introducing into other programs that need to run. This conversation still continues. There's so much to talk about, especially when Arsenal is concerned. And next week I know we'll be here buzzing because kutakuwa na a lot of shift ime happen. Either mtu atakuwa 9 points ama 3 points behind. So we'll be also be seeing that. Also pia tutajua kama Man U ataenda number 3 V1s ama itakuwa ni a sure thing. So thank you so much for joining in. The conversation still continues on our Facebook page. Drop your comments there, drop your suggestions there, and also drop your likes. So if you think kuna any change itakuwa in terms of who is going to win the Premier League, also tell us. So thank you so much. See you next week. I've been your host, Gladson Madin.